Okay, let's go. Hello guys, you are welcome to my YouTube channel HistoryNet JRF classes. Today in this video lecture, I am going to deal with the first unit of paper 1, that is teaching aptitude, and today it's on subunit 3rd, that is factors affecting teaching. So why are we considering or looking into the factors? Because teaching has to be made very effective and efficient, so that's why we have to look into factors. So let's move into syllabus, what we have to cover in under this. So we have to cover on teacher, learner, support material, instructional facilities, learning environment, and institution. Okay, so we have to look into all these six, 1 2 3 4 5 6 factors, that how they affect the teaching, how they can have positive impact or how can they have negative impact. By positive and negative impact, I mean effective and ineffective teaching. Okay, so let's move. So here is teacher. Teacher is an independent variable. I have discussed about this in my previous video, so please go and check it out. You can have better understanding on this. So the first is educational qualification. How far the teacher is qualified. Like when there is any degree in education like B.Ed, M.Ed, or degree lower than B.Ed, that comes under diploma. So according to that degree, you become eligible to teach either for higher classes, okay, or for lower classes. If you are highly qualified, then you can teach students of higher classes, and if you are less qualified, then you are eligible to teach for lower classes. Second is background. What is the background of a teacher? And we will count this on two parameters: social background and educational background. From what kind of society he comes, because society is very important to shape anyone, to develop their thought process, to develop their understanding, to make them sensitive or insensitive. That is very important. And the educational background, say for example, if there are two teachers, okay, if one of them is from very top university, he holds a degree from a very top university, and there is someone who holds a degree from state university, or it doesn't have that like good ranking, it lacks in basic facilities and everything. So obviously there will be variation in these two teachers. One teaching can be more effective than others. Then the other factor is personality. What kind of personality a teacher has? If a teacher is very short tempered, angered, like who enforces strict discipline, then in that scenario the relationship between a learner and teacher is not going to be sound, because a kind of fear or a negative environment will be created, and learner will always try to maintain distance from that teacher, because that learner is not comfortable with the teacher or the teacher's attitude. But if if it is a reverse, if a teacher is very humble, soft spoken, no, I don't mean by soft spoken that teacher has no value, that he should command something, but by like he should give space, a positive environment should be created, so that the learner can interact, put their queries forward, can ask questions, raise questions, develop some new thoughts and new ideas. They can have discussion with the teacher. So it is very important. Next is skills. So when you are teaching, the most important skill is how you communicate, how you present your material or content, how you make it interesting, like what kind of words you are using. Is it very difficult or is it very like on an average? So we have to, like, the teacher has to understand at what level he is teaching. If he is teaching at MLT level, then he has to function according to that. So skill becomes very important. Under skills, communication is very important, because if there is if the communication is not good, teaching will become ineffective. If communication is very sound, the learner is getting what teacher is trying to tell them, then it becomes very interesting for the learner. Experience, it's very important. With experience, if a teacher is very experienced, then there are advantages, like they have enhanced knowledge, like a vast source of knowledge they will have, and they will know how to apply it. It helps them in better handling of the student queries, because of their knowledge, past knowledge. They know how to handle the things. They also know how to manage the classroom. In given particular time period, they have to um, manage the syllabus, they have to complete it, but at the same time they have to make it very interesting. At the same time they have to help students to raise questions, to bring in some relative change in their lifestyle, in their thinking process. Economic factor, yeah, the next one, it's very important. Just imagine if a teacher is under financial constraint, so because of this constraint the teacher can't focus on the teaching learning process, and he can't give his or her 100%. There will be always a lack of attention. So the economic factor is very important. Because of the financial constraint, the independence of thought is very much hampered, it is affected badly, and as a result it will, thus teaching is affected. And this, the same applies true for learner as well. When we will deal in the next, we will look into this. Other, and the last one is the subject matter. Say for example, if a teacher is specialized in history, but he is forced, or like he is forced by an institution, or due to any reason, and he is asked to teach, say for example, philosophy. Okay, up to philosophy he can manage, like it's interdisciplinary, but it's not possible that he can be that effective if he was, as compared to history. If he was teaching history, it would have been fun for him, he would have been enjoying it, because he's a master in that subject. But if you are suddenly giving a teacher to teach literature, so it become like very much different and difficult for the teacher to understand the demand of the subject, to understand everything and how to present it to students. So it will lead to negativity, it will have a negative impact on the learner as well as on teacher, and overall the teaching learning process will become ineffective. So these were the factors related to teacher and how they affect the teaching process. Next is learner. Okay, it's like they are dependent variable, I have discussed in my earlier video. So learners are divided into two, adult and adolescent. Okay, they are divided into two. So whenever we look into the factors, we always look into the characteristics of learner. So in my last video I have explained them, so go and check it out there, you will understand it better. And please do comment if there is any queries regarding this, please reach us, we will try to reach to you as well, and we will look for the solution. So learners characteristic at academic, social, emotional, cognitive levels. For example, at academic level, adults are very much like their intellectual capacity is very much developed, but it's not the same for adolescent. So there is a variation. Okay, so these characteristics affect the teaching process. The same is the, just say if there is a classroom of 10 adult learners, among these 10 there are differences on the basis of learning style, listening skill, thinking style, personal and social attribution. So all these like different characters have to be considered, because if they are not taken into account, teaching learning process will not that be effective. Because at the end you have to you have to meet a goal, right? I have discussed about this goal in my first lecture, so please go and do watch that. So at the end you have to, because okay, let me explain it here more. If you are teaching, there is a particular objective that you have to accomplish. So when you are teaching, you have to design according to learner, that what kind of group you are going to deal with. So at the end, what was the objective of teaching, it should it should be accomplished. Just for example, if there that objective was to bring a change in learners, to make them more uh, team spirited, to make them to develop cooperation, collaboration values in them. So you have to check it out, you have to evaluate at the end whether it has developed or not. So you have to design according to them, so it affects, so this it affects the teaching process. If you don't design according to the learner, then at that time what happens, teaching learning process will become ineffective, it will fail. The same economic factor, say for an example, if there is a learner, and what happens, if like in his home, if there is any sort of financial constraint, like his parents are struggling, then at that time he will be also, he can't give his 100% into teaching learning process. His brain, like, will be under stress, it will always come into his mind. So it will hamper his learning process, it will hamper his development of thought, independence of thought will be very much affected. When we come to social thing, Okay, this is important. Say for example, if a learner is coming from a society which is not that much very much towards academics or something, so he's coming from a different environment, so it will be very complex for him to understand the things at the initial stage. So at that time also teacher has to understand this, like what if this particular learner has this issue, or it's like under this anxiety or complexity. So teacher has to define understand this, so that only teaching can become effective. Otherwise teaching will be no more inclusive, it will become exclusive. Okay, next is support material. So first we should understand actually what is support material. Support materials can be anything in the form of wall charts, workbooks, reference books, textbooks, e-books, stationery, science kits, encyclopedias, map books, practice material, dictionaries, and so on. So these are support material. Like you have a defined curriculum to follow, you have a defined syllabus to cover, but sometimes you may need additional reference books to have a clear understanding about any concept. Say for example, if you are studying geography, then you may need a map, right? If you are reading a biology, you may need a science kit, you may need a lab, you may need some mind map on science, you may need any science journal to be updated. So these are support material. So what are the factors? Let us look into it. The first thing is that this support material should be available at regular interval. The supply should be regular. It's not like that, just say for example, if we take the example of a journal, like any science journal or history journal, so it should be updated every month. It's not like, okay, in January, uh, the institution has got it, but the next issue is like as a gap of February, March, and again April. Then this discontinuity, it will affect the moral of learner and teacher both, right? And it will result into loosening of interest, because at that time they want to read, but if because of any reason they are not getting it, and slowly their focus will shift to something else. So at that point that gap is created, and because of that vacuum, because of that gap, this the problem has arisen, and learner is not interested anymore in that after a few months. So it's a negative thing. Next is accessibility. Say for example, there is abundance of not abundance there is a regular supply of journals, but you can't access it. For example, if there is any e-journals in the digital form, and you can't have an access to digital digital portal, maybe because of internet, or maybe because of lack of laptop or system or PC. So that is also not what feasible thing, that is also hampering the teaching learning process and making it ineffective. The same thing is with quality. Say for example, if there is a need of stationery, any kind of a stationery like geometry box, geometry tools or something, if it is not durable, then it will break, right? The same goes with the journals. The journals or the reference book, it should be published from some reputed publishing houses with no errors, with no factual errors or nothing like that. It should be very much up to dated, it should be very much reviewed. So these are the requirement. Other is quantity. Say for example, if there are three teachers and all of them need map book, say at the same time, but unfortunately there is only one map book. So because of this, the two teachers will go under crisis. Okay, it's like there is no journal. So because of this crisis, teaching learning process will be affected and it will become ineffective. It should be up to date, it should not be outdated. So that because of this, if it is up to date, then because in adult learner, in the last video I was discussing about adults always demand for the relevant topics. Same goes for with adolescent, they also demand for what is the relevant, what I'm being taught. So they have to be up to date, because at the end it should be applicable, that they can apply it. So these were the factors related to support material. Next is instructional facilities. So say for example, if there is an institution, obviously teaching learning process takes in an institution, so the facilities have to be provided, right? And instructional, that is how teacher instruct, guide, teach, all these things come under this. So what is the ease of access to support material as discussed above, or to teaching aid? This teaching aid will is part of its syllabus, so don't worry, I will deal in detail in the upcoming videos. Teaching aid can be in the form of blackboard, projector, seminar room, something like this. It should be user friendly. Okay, say for example, if for class 4th robotics are introduced, so it becomes very, it's not friendly for them, for those kids to understand the mechanics of robots. It should be creative and interesting. If a teacher fails to make the content creative and interesting, then it will lead to ineffectiveness of teaching learning process. So it should be creative and interesting, so that for example, if there is any class on say on geography, and there is need of visual representation, but if there is no availability of visual representation, like if there is no projector or something like that, then teacher will struggle himself or herself to present it in the best possible manner. The same will goes with the learner. Like if there is a really a need of visual representation of the things, then it has to be. So that's why I was talking about ease of access, so it applies here as well. Sufficient space. Okay, if there is a strength of 60 students, 40 students, but you are trying to accommodate 70 students, so that's not good. And even it is overpopulation, because the ratio between teacher and students are disturbed, so that's causing an effect. If there is any outdoor games, say for example, if there is any sports like cricket or football, so in that scenario you need a space, right? If there is any performance, art performance or any theater, then you need an auditorium, and this stage and everything should be there, sufficient space should be there. So this comes under this. And the proper management and maintenance. Okay, say for example, in a classroom, if a fan is not working suddenly and it's very hot, so it has to be maintained. If it is not taken care of, it will hamper the teaching learning process, because it will cause disturbance to them. When we will deal with communication, then that factor will come, we call it noise, like anything that disturb someone, right? So that is there. Or so for example, if the uh, if there is bus facilities by school, and if driver is ill, then then institution can't just take back, okay, driver is ill, so we can't do anything. They have to manage, they have to replace, or not replace, they have to bring someone else for a short time period as a driver there. So these were factors related to instructional facilities. Next we will move on to learning environment. Yeah, obviously, if there is any teaching learning process, it will take in a class or in an open space, and that is the environment of learning. It should be positive. Okay, it should be positive, it should not be filled with tense negativity. It should be very positive, welcoming, inclusive. Say for example, if a learner is very shy or very introvert, then teacher has to push them, has to always praise them and try to pull them into active learning process. Otherwise they will become very much passive learner. Or if there is any visually challenged students, so then they have to be also taken care of. It should be very inclusive in nature, and it is very important, like questions are always on this inclusiveness, exclusiveness, so you should pay attention here. And how far they are equipped with teaching aids, whatever are the requirements. Say for example, um, requirements of any projector or seminar room, so is it there or not? If it is missing, and if it is very important that you need that particular teaching aid, then that will create disturbance, right? Motivated, is that learning environment is filled with motivation, how teacher is motivating the students, that is important. Well equipped with support material, I have discussed about support material earlier. Experienced and highly qualified faculties, like what is the nature of faculties, what is their qualification, what is their personality, I have discussed these things also there. And management of classroom or learners, promoting collaborative learning environment, yeah, this is important. So there are learners, so it's not always we have to push them for being competitive, because of always pushing them towards competitiveness, it will lead to um, anger, it will lead to like, yeah, I have to race, I have to beat you, this kind of mentality will develop. So you have to promote collaboration, and it is very important for society as well as to accomplish any task which is very laborious. So teamwork is very important here, so that has to be developed, that kind of environment should be built. Safe environment should be safe. So by safe I mean both physical and mental. Physical in the terms of it should be, there should be no violence, there should be no sexual harassment, say for say against a girl child or a boy child, both, it has to be very safe. And mental health, yeah, teacher has to understand a learner. If some learner is very quiet, or then the teacher has to figure out if something is wrong, if something is okay. If any student is being bullied or tortured, then it has to be taken into consideration, right? So they should, like, learners should always be supported, welcomed, respected. They should be always filled with positivity, motivation. They should always be pushed towards accomplishing. They should always be challenged, but in a positive manner, not in a negative manner. So these are the learning environment, and like teacher plays very important role here, actually very important role. Next is institution. Yeah, any learning, teaching learning process will take in a institution, right? So what are the administrative policies? Because if policies are not favorable to, like, to teacher or parents or non-teaching staff, then it is very, then it will, the outcome will be that teaching will become ineffective. But if the policies are very suitable and favorable to all of them, then it is like it's become very smooth going things, right? Then what kind of infrastructure is it maintained, old building, new building? Is there any risk of that, okay, a brick might fall off, or there may be some accident? Maintenance, how far it is maintained? I have talked about maintenance earlier as well, like maintenance of auditorium, maintenance of library, maintenance of games room, maintenance of classroom, and all these things comes under this. Then faculty staffs and non-faculty non-teaching staffs, like what is their personality, are they cooperative, what kind of behavior they have, all these things. Then the reputation of institution, it is important especially for adolescent learners, because they are very sensitive. if their institution if their institution have any negative reputation, then it will affect them very badly, like they will get ill with their mental health. So that has to be taken care. Then the geographical location, accessibility, like what is the distance between the learner home, if it's a day scholar, and the school, that has to be looked into. If it is very far, then because then the whole energy will be invested in commuting, coming to school and then returning back to home. Then when is the time to play, when is the time to relax, when is the time for self study? So then geographical location becomes very important, because if they are exhausted, then how will they participate, how will they be an active learner? So it will lead to exclusiveness. There will be no more inclusiveness of every learner, so it is important. And next is facilities, same thing, maintenance, library, games room and all. Then other thing is that teacher student ratio, what is the population there, okay? Say for example, if one teacher is on each teacher, responsibility is given to manage 50 students or 55 students, then it is difficult for a teacher to give proper attention to each of them. And because of this, lots of students will be left behind, it will become exclusive in nature. For those students, the classroom environment will become negative. So it is important that this ratio should be balanced. Then the adequate teaching and research facilities, is there enough facilities for the teacher to research? Is there enough is there enough maintenance of journals, newspapers and digital portal, whatever they need, or support material? And then what is the relation between the institution and lawmakers? Okay, so if an institution is facing any kind of charges against them, if there is any case filed against them, then in that scenario, whoever is the MD or director or principal, their energy and their focus will be divided between management of the school as well as to manage these large charges, and these things can hamper the effectiveness of teaching learning process. Then the funding, if funding is not well enough, okay, if funding is not well enough, then this maintenance will fail drastically, then infrastructure will be impacted badly, then policies will also be impacted badly. Okay, so these were the factors that has to be taken care under institution. So guys, these were for today. So in the next video I will discuss the fourth subunit, that is methods of teaching in institution of higher learning, and it is very important topic, you should not miss it, you should pay clear attention, very keen attention on this. So please give your feedback in the comment box below, that how was the video. Please do like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much.